I'm here today to request an audit of the Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital, a public hospital and special district that serves thousands of people throughout the Salinas Valley in my district. For nearly 60 years, the hospital has been an essential part of the health and well-being of the people in the Central Coast region. It provides critically needed health care to people to all walks of life, including farm workers, mothers, and businessmen. But today, my concern is not with the hospital's role in the community. It is with the financial operation of the hospital at the expense of patient care. Community leaders, hospital workers have reached out to me to tell me about the fiscal mismanagement by the board of directors and its former CEO. The hospital has come under public scrutiny and made national news headlines, including the LA Times, the Washington Post recently, after Sam Downing, who had been the CEO at the hospital for 25 years, retired recently from the hospital with the lucrative pension and benefits package of nearly $4 million. And that's a record amount for a public hospital in the state of California. That was on top of an ongoing $150,000 pension and an nearly $800,000 salary and benefits as well. And there may be more owed to the former CEO. At the same time, the hospital announced the layoffs of 200 nurses and other workers, a drastic cut to the total number of caregivers. This has caused public outcry throughout the Salinas Valley, and yet the response from the hospital about these lucrative executive benefits were, quote unquote, these were well deserved. Downing himself told all local news outlets that I've earned it. I think I've earned it, was his quote. The hospital has responded to the layoffs by saying that they are overstaffed for the number of patients utilizing the hospital, and perhaps they are. But the purpose of this audit is to make sure that our tax dollars are being spent appropriately. It is not my purpose to embarrass anyone, but this audit is crafted to shed light on the situation at the hospital and to guarantee that the public dollars are being spent to serve the needs of the community in the best way possible. Now the hospital may say to you today that if I only called them, they would have explained the situation and show us that we don't need an audit to investigate the situation at Salinas Valley Memorial. But this is the same story we've heard recently with our court case management system audit, the Commission on Teacher Credentialing just yesterday. But in those cases and in many others, we found that once our state auditor came in and audited the organizations, the problems turned out to be much more egregious than we initially expected. We have worked with the state auditor to develop an audit that will be independent and inscrutable. The focus of the audit is to ensure that the hospital's policies, practices, and business relationship comply with laws, rules, and regulations. The auditor will investigate whether any inappropriate relationships or activities exist between board members and organizations they are related to, and determine if these relationships have any impact on the hospital's operation and services. This audit is intended to shed sunshine into the operation of a public hospital that has been functioning without public scrutiny for too long. The results will let us know if the financial management of the hospital is negatively impacting the services the hospital is able to provide, and will provide us also with recommendation to fix the problems in other public hospitals throughout our state. The people of the Salinas Valley, the taxpayers of California, and the state legislature deserve to know if the hospital has been acting ethically and appropriately. This is about attempting to restore public trust in our public hospital. We need a neutral, independent review by our state auditor to answer all these questions. And it should alarm us here today if we hear that they do not support this audit, or they try to narrow the scope of this audit, as the hospital officials themselves have already told the people of Salinas and national news outlets, including the LA Times, that they support this audit. Board President Jim Gaddis, quote unquote, he said, "We welcome the audit." To our local news outlets. Treasurer Harry Wardwell said, "We are fine with this audit." That was his quote. So if there's nothing to hide, then Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital should be welcoming this audit with open arms today. I ask for your aye vote.